Lately, I've been addicted to a bunch of different roguelikes, survivor-likes, and bullet heaven type of games, and today we're going to be talking about Night Swarm. It kind of fits into that category as well. Night Swarm is going to be coming out on December 4th. I managed to get my hands on an early review copy, and hopefully in this video, I want to break down everything that the game has to offer, and my opinions on everything, and hopefully to help you decide if this is a game you want to pick up or not. Right out of the gate, I can tell you Night Swarm does everything on paper right and is fun in that sense. However, there's a few drawbacks here that kind of just make me, I don't know if I can fully 100% recommend this game, and that's largely going to be due to a lack of itemization, and I feel like a lack of different builds or just exciting skills. But let's go ahead and jump into everything what the game has to offer. I went ahead and jumped into the game here, so you're going to be building up your castle here. You can see I've already kind of leveled up some of these trophies. I've kind of started to build this quarters down here as well. A little bit, still more work to do, some more rubble, but basically what leveling up your castle and doing these things are going to do for you, which sounds awesome, but really what it really all is going to be permanent upgrades for your character. Health regen. These three, cap out. There's 3 levels for each of them. And then over here, these are from killing different bosses. Again, more nice permanent upgrades that are, obviously nice to have. And I think these ones, as far as I know, are infinite upgrades. I don't know. I haven't really played too much. I think at the time of recording, I only have about 20 hours played in the game or something like that. So you're going to be starting out here, and this is your castle you're building up. And we'll get more to the castle later here. Let's get to the more important part of what you're actually going to be doing in this game. So once you've decided to set out on your journey, you're going to come over here, and this will look pretty familiar if you played any types of games like this. So these are all your different levels that you can play. There is 4 different biomes. You have kind of the grasslands, the desert, the frost area, and then the castle up here. Now, each of these is going to have 3 different difficulties. So there's 12 different levels, 3 different difficulties. That's 36 different levels to conquer there, if you think about it that way. And the different biomes are interesting. You have the desert, will have a giant AoE you have to dodge over into the frost lands, or whatever you want to call it. They have a thing where you have to kind of keep your body temperature warm, or you start to freeze and you get slowed down, which is really, simple, but it makes it a little bit more interesting. The castle has different traps, and the grasslands also have some different little events and things in there as well. So you have 4 different biomes, and then you have 3 levels for each biome, and then 3 difficulties for each of those. But let's talk about here kind of what the point is and what you're actually going to be doing here. So if we switch over from normal to nightmare, you can see the loot rates over here kind of go up a little bit. Now, the loot rate in the loot in this game is something that really just bothers me a little bit here. If you look here over on normal, you have no chance to find rare gear, but over on nightmare, you have a 20% chance. And honestly, the gear, I'll show you that here real quick while we're on the topic here. So if you go over here, this is kind of the crafting. Maybe I'll touch on a little more later. But you have different pieces of gear. And the only difference between the rarities is just stronger stats. There's sure, you can get some that have like a freeze chance or a burn chance or damage to freeze, damage to burning, things like that. But then when you get to rare, it's like you have both. Like you have all the stats. And I have not even unlocked legendary gear, so perhaps legendary gear will be more exciting. But here's where my issue is. It's like as soon as I unlocked Nightmare, I was like, we're going to grind for gear because that's like the best way to really make your character stronger. And the way you farm gear in this game, we'll go ahead and jump in here. So we picked a level here, and this is what the maps look like. And before I talk about this though, so the gear, basically when you're in there, you're having to decide between, do you want to make your character stronger for that run, or do you want to go and farm gear? And if you go and farm the gear, you're going to be missing out on buffs that just make the run a little bit more challenging, which really at the end of the day just feels bad and frustrating. But what I did was I did that. I just farmed the gear, but I had weaker runs, more boring runs, felt bad. But then when I got that stronger gear, I was able to push a little bit more. So I don't know if they're wanting the player to kind of have to decide between, do I want stronger gear or do I want to actually try to progress through all these different levels? I don't know. It just felt a little bit weird. I think it'd be a lot cooler if they had like just loot drops that we could get for our gear, and so we're not having to spend our resources making the decision between permanent gear or the run power-ups as well. So we picked a level, the very first level, and I think we did Nightmare or something like that, but they all look like this, and you're going to just go through here, and it's like any roguelike game, that's going to have, you can kind of choose your path and different rewards. This one over here is going to have harder monsters. This one right here, you can get a companion to follow you around, which is pretty cool. They provide some pretty awesome buffs. You can rest and heal up here. This one's going to give you purple gems, which are going to be part of your meta progression that we'll talk about in a little bit. This one's going to be reputation, so that you can level up your companions. Quest over here, these are random events where you kind of pick, and then, you know, they're pretty simple, really. And you'll have like 3 choices of, do you want to fight the monster? Do you want to run away? Do you want to set a trap? Like whatever type of things. They're really pretty simple. And then over here, the dice is going to be so that you can get more rerolls or banishes on your skills while you're playing through. And then over here is going to be the silk that you need actually for crafting your gear. You actually have to have a lot of this, especially for the higher rarity gear. And then eventually you'll get to the boss fight. And once you hopefully take down the boss, you can decide if you want to return to your castle or go into an infinite abyss. And I highly recommend, if you have a good, strong build and you're not capped out over here on this blood, to go into here and just farm up to try to get the maximum amount of blood. And the reason for that is, here we're going to jump back into the castle here. They make you feel really bad for giving up your run, but I'm just trying to make a review video here, so it's not like I'm a quitter or something like that. But this blood over here is actually going to be used for your upgrades that you can find in your runs, right? So if you've played roguelikes or anything like that, you'll know how this works. You have permanent upgrades here, and then during your run, you have a chance to find these types of items. So the way the game's broken up here is you have active relics. These are going to be your actual skills that you use. You can see right here, there's a total of 27 skills, I think, if I counted that right. And then they call them relics. They're skills. They're the skills you're going to be using. The skill variety, I don't know. There's just something about it to me that I didn't really get that excited with trying out different skills. Now, what you can do that's kind of cool, nothing new to the genre here, you can fuse your relics together to make like a super good ability, right? My personal favorite is this one here with frozen spiders. You can combine spiders with your frost sword or whatever, dagger of the damned, I guess it's called, and get a bunch of frost spiders that run around. That one's probably my top favorite fuse right there, and then I usually end up pairing that up here with Firestorm. Now, in order to do this, so during your run, you're going to be leveling up your relic or your skill up to level 10. You have to level both of those up to level 10 before you can actually fuse them, which, I don't know, I wish they were like level 5 instead of level 10, because it takes forever to level these things up. And usually by the time I've beat the boss and going into the infinite run, don't even have 2 full fuses most of the time. But, you know, perhaps that'll change if we were to go more into the XP gains and stuff like that, and the castle unlocks, and over here on your passive relics. So active relics and fusible relics we talked about here. Let's go ahead and talk about passives. And also, you unlock all of these for 250 blood each. They all cost the same amount of blood to unlock, so that's why it's important to go into that infinite run and get as much blood as you possibly can to unlock these. Now, over on your passives, so when you level up in a run, you're going to get a choice of an active relic if you want to, or sometimes they'll have your passive relics, which are these. And then the artifacts are not from leveling up. The artifacts, these are like huge, strong, build-defining things, and these are what you would be using your currency on during your run to unlock these, or if you're wanting to unlock the gear. So it's like, do you want the strong artifacts or permanent gear? And I hate that that's even a choice. But back to the passive relics here, these are going to be things like max health, crit chance, health regen, increased size of the attack, bleed chance, bonus XP. This is the one I was talking about a little bit ago. Damage, nothing new here. I mean, if you've played any game like this, it's all very cookie cutter. There's really nothing that really is unique about it. It's just, you know, kind of more of the same. Some of these can be pretty cool, pretty powerful things. Again, nothing crazy exciting. Yeah, each one costs 250 blood, and this one gives you 1 passive relic at the start of each stage. That one's actually pretty cool, I guess, even though the passives aren't that insane. My favorite one over here on passive actually is the cooldown reduction. You can literally get it so you can spam your skills, which is pretty cool. But here's my problem. So let's say I want to unlock Halo of the Fallen Angel. I don't know what this does. And, you know, I don't know. Maybe there's a way that I'm not aware of to see. So you're basically wasting blood and hoping it's something that you actually want to unlock. I have no idea. And same thing over when you're unlocking companions. I've unlocked them all, so I'll show you that here in a little bit. But you have no idea what you're going to unlock. And so it just kind of just feels bad when you unlock it and you're like, oh, that sucks. I'm not going to use that. But yeah, that's going to be all the kind of things in your runs that you're going to be picking as your skills, your passives, and then your artifacts. So I was playing along and I was like, all right, there's so many of these things. And I was like, it's not that exciting really. Like, of course, we're going to get cooldown reduction, more damage, and then try to get our fuses on our skills. But what I found out here eventually is you can come in here and let's say like we don't want this fusion for whatever reason, which would be your fire rats and your whatever this is. So you can come over here and you can actually disable them. So it's bloodletting bomb and fire rat horde would be what we would need to fuse for the fire rat bomb or whatever anyway. So if you're like, we've tried that, we didn't like that skill, you can actually banish those right here. So you can kind of customize your build in that sense of, you know, helping target more of what you want to get in your run, I guess. And you can do the same thing over here with your passives. Now the game does force you to have a minimum of, I think it's 9. You have to have at least 9 of these, and I think it's 7 of your actives or something like that. So you got to at least have a certain amount in there. I thought this was 7. Yeah, you got to have at least 7. So I'm going to actually put these back here so I can have them for my next run if I keep playing. Also, it's kind of cool. I mean, you have a little bit of customization over that. That's really, I mean, that's really the extent of your builds. I guess you also have, as I mentioned, the gear. Now, I guess we're going to go ahead and talk about the castle a little bit here. Maybe I'll do an example run here and talk about the actual in-run, what that looks like. But I want to talk about crafting now, so let's jump into it here. So when you're running through the map, you can find blueprints, and then you can turn those blueprints into items, and it costs you this silk. Now, another thing you can do, in the blueprints have different rarities. So basically, like if I were to find a blue weapon or cloak, I wouldn't even use it. I would just dismantle it and get a little bit more of that silk to use. But you can upgrade your items here. It's really quite simple. You put your silk in here. This has a chance to fail. So as you put more silk in there, obviously, I don't have enough to even start upgrading it, but yeah, I don't have enough silk. But the more silk you put in there, the higher success chance you have. But you can actually fail at upgrading and lose your resource in the process. It's really frustrating. Another part of the castle here, we'll just kind of start at the beginning and walk through. So this one over here is going to be kind of one of your main quest people at the beginning or whatever. So these are going to be your, I don't even know what they call these. I want to say runes, I think is what they call these. And you find these just while you're playing, and you can unlock more slots by clearing different levels. Move my camera here so you can see clearing outer wall and normal. We'll unlock this slot, nightmare, whatever. So you can get up to 4 slots. These are things like more health, cooldown reduction, crit chance. Again, very basic things, and you can upgrade these as well. You see these red star crystal things? I got those from killing bosses, actually. But look, I only have a 33% chance to upgrade. We can throw in some purple gems, but you got to have so many. It's just crazy. And when you fail on them, it feels really terrible because it just wastes all your time. And then this horn right here, this is a thing you'll unlock later on here, where when you complete a run and come back, you can get some passive rewards here. I'll try to not spoil everything for you. And I think we already talked about the upgrade dude here. In order to upgrade the currency you find here, again, in your run, you'll have to decide if you want to, you know, be weaker in your run, but be able to build up your castle or whatever. Again, terrible decision. I hate that. These are going to be your companions. You have to have at least 6 of these picked. And when you first start out, you're only going to have access to like the first 6, I think. Maybe even less than that. And you'll have to spend the reputation, which is this green currency here, to unlock more. But when you first pop into the game, you won't even know what buffs you get from the characters. So you have to spend your rep to even find out. So again, it feels bad if you waste them on something you didn't really want. But eventually you'll have them all unlocked. So if you're playing the game, here you go. You can pause through and see what buffs they are so you don't waste your points like I did. My personal favorite on these is going to be the cooldown and the damage. Companions, usually you're only going to have about 2. I think most I've ever had was 3 companions during one run. The companion will have an active ability here that has, so the companions are interesting because they do give you a nice buff So this one reduces your cooldown by 350%, and it lasts for 8.8 seconds. It costs 1,000 mana. Now, there's the mana regen on there. So when your companion has full mana, you get the buff. So even during your run, there's passive relics you can get for, I believe, mana regeneration for your companions as well. But this is my favorite one, and then I will usually go with this chick over here for attack damage. Cooldown and attack damage are always good. Over here's another NPC you unlock a little bit later on. This one's kind of just quests that you can do for, playing the game, whatever. Kill so many different monsters, things like that. This one, kill rhino beetles. And then as you complete this, you level up, different tier rewards, stuff like that. Pretty cool, passive little thing, nothing really to write home about. We talked about crafting already. And then up here, this is kind of the last thing here, I think, for the castle. This is your skill tree. So when I saw this game being shown off at the One True King Game Expo, the OTK Game Expo, I was like, oh, there's a skill tree. That'll be awesome. As it turns out, it's cool. I'll give it that, but it's nothing. You're not going to have to be making like hard choices or anything, really. And eventually you're going to have this whole tree maxed out anyway. It costs this purple stuff that you find in your runs, which if you remember, we could also use to upgrade our item. So there's another choice. Do you want to upgrade your runes, or do you want to put them into your skill tree? It's okay that you have to make that decision. I'm cool with that. But skill tree is very simple. I mean, you have burn chance, and then that's pretty much what the entire tree is here. And then I went over here for bonus XP. Down here is the same thing, but it's frost, and then you get cooldowns, which was really nice. I love the cooldown reduction. And then your green is going to be your health tree, survivability. And then over here is going to be your damage. Red's going to be different damage to bosses, things like that. My favorite part of the tree, though, is right here. You can increase your maximum blood capacity. So with this, you're not going to want to juice this up just right out of the gate. You want to see at the end of a run, how much blood are you actually getting? So like I've juiced this up to 1,500, and I was getting nowhere near that. So I was wasting 500 crystals. The other cool part of this too is you can refund this for free, literally at any time, and get all your crystals back and switch them around. So it's really nice to have that flexibility with that skill tree. And then I really think that's the entire castle area here. And then, yeah, we already talked about all the relics that you can upgrade as well. Let's go ahead and just jump into a run here real quick. We'll do the frost one because that one has a pretty interesting mechanic, and we're going to go ahead and pick normal for this. We already went over the path you can choose to run through here. Some of these will have unlockable NPCs that you would for sure want to go and get that one-time unlock. We'll go ahead and do a companion over here and jump in here. So when you first jump in, you're down here in the bottom left. Let me move my camera. Went ahead and move the camera. Hopefully I'm not covering up anything important on the UI. But yeah, when you jump in, you're going to get your choice of what you want here, and it'll tell you what you can fuse it with. I really like the spiders, so let's run that. Hopefully we'll get spiders here. So you can see this red totem costs 40 gold to use, which is just these little nodes here that you can collect. But the one thing I really like about this game here, and really caught my eye again at that OTK Game Expo, was this mini map down here on the left that you're going to see while we're running. And I just like that there's different things to do in the event, or in the map or whatever. Like usually when you're playing these types of games, it's like just a huge arena, you kill stuff and try to not die. Maybe there'll be one or two events here or there, but this one's like a whole map to actually explore and everything. So I'll re-roll this, see if we can get those spiders out. Well, I didn't get the spider skill yet, but you can see we're on the cold map. We have our little temperature we have to kind of balance here. But yeah, you're going to be getting these ores that you can grab, and then there's going to be the magnifying glass, which is going to uncover your map here. And I always stack cooldown on there. And then also completing the events gives you nice bonus XP as well. Here we go, spider. And you can see on there it said it has fusible. So now I have to level up my two skills. They both have to be level 10 before I can even fuse them. Some of the things here on the map, though, you can see we've uncovered more of it down here. You can actually pull this map up, and you cannot move while this is open, so it feels really bad. But you have these... the fires are, just for this frost biome. That's where you go to warm up or whatever. But then you have your ores. These are different totems. So there's 3 different types of totems. No, I think there's 4 types of totems in the game. So you have green, which is your artifact. red, which is your passive or active relics. And then you have a purple one, which will spawn a mini boss to fight. And then there's also the white totems, which is where you can get your permanent gear unlocks from. So I was kind of hoping to find one of those in here. But yeah, I mean, I just like that there's a whole map to kind of uncover. And then while you're going through, you're thinking, what's the most direct path? Do we want to get, buff totems for the run? Are we just doing a gear run? Things like that. And then, obviously, if there's a magnet in there, that'll suck in everything on the map into it. And what I'll usually do is I'll do like a whole path around, and then I'll end up with that magnet with the last 30 seconds or so in the run to fully clear everything. Because we'll keep going here. We'll see if how we do here in this run. So I kind of want to try to find and show you the gear unlock thing, because it's really weird how they have it tied in here, and you got to make that choice. But well, I'll usually just go around, get all the gold you need, because the gold is like literally what you're going to need for these totems, and is going to give you the most power, actually. Another really important stat in this game is health regen here. You're going to be getting damaged, obviously, and you want to be able to restore a little bit there. My top three, I think, is probably cooldown, health regen, and max health is usually my top three passive relics I'll go for. Like, so we got some bonus XP there. And then the other cool thing, too, if you're like, oh, I forgot what I was going for, went ahead and move the camera again here, but you can actually look to see. So if you have terrible memory like me, you can see, oh, okay, these two are fusible. We're good. We could pick a new ability now if we want to. So maybe we'll pick up Vampiric Blades. Went ahead and grabbed those blades here. Let's see if we have enough gold to unlock the gear down here. These are nice events too. These give you maximum health. So you can see the gear is 153 gold. That's crazy, dude. Like, we're not going to be able to get that in this first run, and that's fine. We'll farm up gold for a later run. And honestly, this one's on normal, so we wouldn't even want any gear from this place anyway, because it would just be common quality, and we already have blue and purple gear, so it's literally useless. And you only have 4 item slots too, so see if I can get one more gold here and show you here what you can do with these totems. Let's go over to this totem over here on the bottom right, and then we'll grab our companion. I'll show you that a little bit here. Oh, and there's also this event here. This turns you into a little tornado, so you can just get across the map real quick. And I believe it also makes it so you're invincible for the duration, too. I'll usually use it to pick up some quick, just some quick ores or whatever, because they break, they deal damage to the nodes, too. I couldn't afford this totem, so we're going to come back over to this one here. I'll show you. See, it's 38 gold, whereas those boots were like 150 something. It's crazy, but it's random. You can get different rarities from these totems. You can get white, blue, purple, and legendary or whatever. Go with a little bit of crit chance there. And yeah, they have different events. So if you remember when we went in here, we chose to go for a companion. This is the actual companion event. And you also got to keep your eye on that timer too. Otherwise, you can run out of time and get totally screwed, missed out on something important like that. But this one's really simple. You just kill stuff in there, and then you can unlock. We didn't get the one we wanted, I don't think. I already used all my rerolls, otherwise we would have been able to here do some health restoration on that one. Then you can see our magnets up here. We'll go ahead and grab that. And the magnets are weird too, because at the very end, if we complete this here in 20 seconds, there's a collection phase where you run around and get all the extra resources you left out here. But we're going to use a magnet and collect them all anyway. So we don't even really need that collect phase. I don't know what we want here. We'll just show Blood Axe, why not? Even though there's no synergy with it. And then attack damage. And a bunch of level ups there. But yeah, I'll usually go around, get my ores, stuff like that. We'll finish this for that little bonus XP. Where is it? There it is. And now we're out of time. So now you can look at your map. This is your collection phase. So if you didn't have a magnet in your run, this would be good. You could go collect all the big, juicy XP orbs and stuff like that. So that's one stage that we just did, okay? That's one stage. There's about 10 that you're going to have to do to get up to the boss. And then once you defeat the boss, you can go into the infinite thing if you want to, or go back to your castle. That's literally what I just showed you is the entire game. The boss fights, I feel, are just pushovers. They're generally very simple mechanics, don't get hit, and they usually die pretty quick. So, I don't know. The build, like the boss fights look cool, but they're just super, super easy. Well, that's pretty much everything in Night Swarm. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the closing thoughts here and if I can recommend this game or not. So, Night Swarm, at the time of recording, has a demo you can go check out on Steam. So, if you're on the fence, go check out the demo. I think I got like 2 hours out of the demo or something like that, which is wild. But really, what the demo is the game. So, if you play the demo and you love it, you're probably going to enjoy the game. If you pick up the demo and you're like, this gear is boring, the builds are boring, that's what the game is. I mean, the demo is what the game is, really. For me, though, I really, really wanted to enjoy Night Swarm. And again, I played for 20 hours, and, I would say I had fun for the 20 hours. I was thinking of other games I wanted to go play instead. But I think the biggest thing for me is there's only 4 gear slots, and the gear's really boring. And I kept telling myself, just get to the legendary gear. They're going to have way cooler gear once you unlock legendary, and you can level them up. And maybe the higher difficulties have higher rarity gear that has really cool stuff. But then I hit a point, I was like, dude, I've played for 20 hours and the gear is still really boring. So I don't think it's magically going to get really awesome. And it's not just the gear. The skills I found to be a little bit generic and just not really that interesting. And I think what the reason for that for me is I don't know, the skills just basically for me are like different shapes that do damage. You know what I mean? Like they don't have any special mechanics. Like they don't I'm sure there's frost and burning in there, but outside of that you don't have like I don't know, there's just so many other games that you can just build true synergies around with your build. Like, maybe like maybe you do more damage to enemies that are closer to you, or just things that just make it a little bit more interesting in that sense. And it just felt very generic. And then having to level up each skill to level 10, each skill. So like for one fuse, you have to level up 2 different skills to level 10. That's 20 level ups for one fuse. That's wild. It takes forever. And I don't know. It just felt like, I kept playing because I thought it's going to get better. There's going to be more things. It's going to get more interesting. And it really just never did. I mean, from that first map to the first boss and then back to the castle, that's really what the game was. And I don't know. Maybe it's just not my cup of tea. But for me, maybe I'll check back in on the game, but there's just other games out there that I'd rather play right now. So, as for you, I would recommend checking out the demo. If you're interested in the game, check out the demo and, maybe you'll love it. I think the map's cool. That's probably my favorite part of the game, honestly, is that map and just exploring the map. And then, I don't know, I was getting excited to find higher rarity gear. And then I got the higher rarity gear and it was like, I was excited for that. You know what I mean? It just didn't feel, that good. I don't know, maybe set gear. I don't know. I really don't know. The game just felt a little bit generic in the gear, the skills, the passives. All of it just felt a little bit generic. Sure, it has some uniqueness with the companions and things like that, but, at the end of the day, it is what it is. I enjoyed my 20 hours, and I'm super thankful that you hung out with me here today and let me talk to you about Night Swarm. If you found this video useful and or entertaining, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you think I've earned it. Please consider becoming a YouTube channel member today. The support helps more than you know, but don't forget your view alone means the absolute world. As soon as you're done watching this video, go ahead and take a look around the channel and check out everything with action RPGs. You could check out some of my stream replays, some of my latest videos, and more. Have a look around and enjoy.